Have you ever noticed na ang skin mo ay kulang sa fairness at glow? Mabilis ka bang magkaroon ng ubot-sipon at iba pang sakit? Ilan lamang ang mga ito sa kayang masolusyonan ng bagong formulation ng W2 Mestiza Plus. Let our medical expert and OB-GYN, Dr. Heidi Tan, further explains about the wonders of W2 Mestiza Plus.
Ang W2 Mestiza Plus ay isang powerful antioxidant dahil meron itong L-glutathione o ang master antioxidant ng ating katawan. Ang antioxidant nito ay naglalaman ng 3 amino acids which are the building blocks of proteins. Ito ay ang cysteine, glycine at glutamate. Ang cysteine ay tumutulong sa pag-produce sa ating katawan ng natural antioxidants. Ito rin ay nagpapalakas sa ating immune at digestive systems. Ginagamit ang cysteine sa paggamot sa mga sakit sa baga katulad ng bronchitis at pulmonary diseases. Ang glycine naman ay tumutulong sa ating katawan sa paggawa ng proteins. Ginagamit ang glycine sa paggamot ng stroke at sleep problems at kilala rin ito bilang anti-aging amino acid na nagpapalakas sa ating muscle tissue upang tumibay habang lumalaki ito. Most especially sa mga athletes na kailangan physically malakas and of course mentally. Samantalang ang glutamic acid or glutamate naman ay tumutulong sa ating brain to form and store memories. Ang absence ng glutamate sa ating utak may enhance the risk of schizophrenia and depression. Kaya tinawag na isang powerful antioxidant ang glutathione ay dahil sa 3 amino acids na ito. Ang kagandahan dito, dahil sa pinagsama-sama ang presence nila sa isang antioxidant, which is the W2 Mestiza Plus, tumutulong ito to free our body from harmful radicals that cause cancer at mapalakas ang ating immune system to reduce the risk of common diseases.
Pero ano nga ba ang mga active ingredients ng W2 Mestiza Plus and what makes this product unique? W2 Mestiza Plus has 5 powerful ingredients. The first one is L-glutathione, which is really good for waste disposal kasi it gently cleanses the liver. It is also an antioxidant because it gets rid of the body of free radicals that contributes to aging and sickness. It is a very good immune system booster. At syempre, it is popularly known as skin whitening agent. Ang second ingredient ay ang camu-camu extract na tumutubo lang sa Amazon rainforest in Peru, Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela. This one is superfood with the highest level of vitamin C that helps in whitening and brightening the skin when combined with glutathione. What's more, ang camu-camu ay may antiviral properties na nakakatulong para lumakas ang immune system. Nakakatulong din ito para maiwasan ang macular degeneration o paglabo ng mata. It also helps against inflammation lalo na sa mga may edad. Camu-camu can help improve gum health as well as heart health. Ang ingredient na ito ay isa ring mood enhancer dahil nakakatulong ito mag-produce ng serotonin o happy hormones na siyang kumukontra sa depression. The third ingredient is the multi-effect soy isoflavone from Japan. Alam niyo ba ang beauty secret ng mga Japanese women? They consume soy supplements na nakakatulong para mapanatili ang kanilang malasutlang kutis. According to studies, soy can improve the look of an even skin tone and visible signs of aging na sanhi ng environmental exposure, kaya it helps brighten and whiten skin. Ang soy isoflavone ay nakakatulong para ma-reduce ang body weight at mapabilis ang metabolismo ng glucose. Nakakatulong din ito para ma-relieve ang mga sintomas ng menopause. Ang pang-apat ay ang Rooster's Comb Hyaluronic Acid from Spain. Ito ay kilala rin bilang nature's moisturizer o fountain of youth. Ang hyaluronic acid ay isang molecule that's renowned for its high moisture retention capacity. Napapanatili nitong hydrated and plump ang balat. It also helps in skin repair and protection against UV damage and free radicals. Sa loob naman ng ating katawan, ang hyaluronic acid ay nakakatulong para malubricate ang ating muscles and joints. And the fifth ingredient is salmon ovary peptide from Hokkaido, Japan. Ito ay extract ng salmon placenta na siyang beauty secret ni Queen Cleopatra ng Egypt, pati ng mga Chinese royalties and families. Ang salmon ovary ay may pinakamataas na source ng collagen na siyang nakakatulong bilang anti-aging. It stimulates our body to remove old skin cells and build new ones, making the skin fairer and more radiant. Nakakatulong din ito sa blood circulatory system, kaya mawawala ang mga dark under eye circles at magiging maayos ang daloy ng dugo sa mga organs ng katawan. Ito rin ay nakakabawas ng melanin production, kaya naman mawawala ang mga spots and wrinkles ng balat. Salmon ovary peptide helps skin moist and bright while stimulating the production of collagen and elastin, kaya mapapanatili ang baby skin.
Yes, aside from skin whitening, W2 Mestiza Plus is also a powerful antioxidant na makakapagpalakas sa inyong katawan. It is FDA approved, kaya guaranteed safe. And with all the 5 powerful ingredients working together in synergy, it will really boost your energy and keep you healthy.
Ang galing ng W2 Mestiza Plus! It's an antioxidant na nakakatulong sa pag-boost ng immune system at nakakapagpadagdag ng sperm count plus skin whitener at nakakakinis ng balat. At dahil mataas ang concentration ng glutathione at kamo-kamo extract ng W2 Mestiza, it helps na maging fairer and glowing ang iyong balat.
Mahirap yung lumalaki ka, na nabubuli ka dahil sa itsura mo, dahil sa balat mo. Hindi naman ako yung sobrang dark, hindi ako yung sobrang itim, pero kasi yung skin ko very uneven na parang ang dami laging sunburns. Kahit hindi naman ako mahiling magpa-araw. Nung bata pa nga ako, lagi akong inaasar ng mga playmates ko na parang bilad na bilad ako sa araw at yung balat ko, parang world map sa daming hyperpigmentations. Nung nagdalaga ako, doon ko mas naramdaman yung effect ng pagkakaroon ng uneven skin. Na parang lagi ako may mga sunburn, so lagi lang ako nasa likod, lagi lang nasa background. Yung bang parang ayaw ako laging ipakita kasi nung mga panahon na yon, may mga pimple marks talaga ako. And then, mahilig din ako mag-acting. So, one time, I auditioned for a role, but unfortunately, hindi ako natanggap for the same reason. Uneven yung skin ko, dark yung balat ko, maraming dark spots. Eh, yung hinahanap nilang actress, yung makinis, maputi. Pero yung skin, for me, ang sakit lang kasi hindi ko ma-achieve yung goals ko. Sobrang nakakababa ng confidence kasi alam mong physically may kulang sa'yo. So I have a friend na model na nag-recommend sa akin na I should try W2 Mestiza Glass. Sabi niya, safe naman daw kasi FDA approved naman yung product and nakakatulong talaga siya mag-boost ng immunity and stamina. Grabe, in just 3 days, I can really tell the difference sa skin ko, yung mga dark spots ko, and even yung mga pimple marks ko, wala na. And most especially, yung skin tone ko, fair na. And look at me now, guys. Ang puti at ang kinis ko na, di ba? Sabi nila, mas attractive na daw ako ngayon. At ang taas na talaga ng self-confidence ko and I really feel healthier inside. Ito lang masasabi ko, W2 Mestiza Glass, may forever ang kagandahan ko. Hashtag fair skin goals with Mestiza.
W2 Mestiza Glass is all you need. It contains powerful antioxidants. It can also be a male fertility booster. At syempre, ito ang magpapaputi at magpapakinis sa iyong balat. Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo? Call our hotline and inquire about W2 Mestiza Glass. Malay nyo, ito na ang sagot sa health problems and skin issues nyo. W2 Mestiza Glass.
Mahalagang paalala, ang W2 Mestiza ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa lamang uri ng sakit.
Makipagsabayan, huwag nang magpahuli. Nandito na ang susi upang mapanatili ang beauty na mapapansin ng lahat. Sapagkat nakakasilaw ang tingkad ng balat. Ang iyong pangarap pwede nang maabot. Magtiwala, maniwala, ito na ang sagot. Dial 855-1-3333. Mas lalong pasiglahin ang iyong beauty. Pampatangkad ng sagat at pampapayat. Top brand products, kumpleto lahat. Masaya at maligaya, masarap ang feeling. Easy Shop Asia, making life's worth living. Easy Shop Asia. Easy Shop Asia, making life's worth living.
connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles. We're coming to you live from Manila and Indonesia. Hello, December.
Hello, Alma, and to all the televiewers. I'm December Paras of EBC Indonesia Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines.
Their decision is practical.
The United States officially declared that violence against the Rohingya committed by Myanmar's military amounted to genocide, saying there was clear evidence of an attempt to destroy the Muslim minority, and the Rohingya in Bangladesh reacted to this declaration.
Heritage says the communist movement has been able to infiltrate various political parties led by a presidential aspirant.
Headed by someone.
Prime Minister Hun Sen told Cambodian diplomats to adopt a stance against Russia's invasion of Ukraine in all international polls.
The Philippines and the United States will kick off the largest ever joint military drills in the archipelago nation next week.
The United States officially declared that violence against the Rohingya committed by Myanmar's military amounted to genocide, saying there was clear evidence of an attempt to destroy the Muslim minority. The Rohingya in Bangladesh reacted to this declaration. Let's listen in.
Beyond the Holocaust, the United States has concluded that genocide was committed 7 times. Today marks the 8th, as I have determined that members of the Burmese military committed genocide and crimes against humanity against Rohingya. The attack against Rohingya was widespread and systematic, which is crucial for reaching a determination of crimes against humanity. The evidence also points to a clear intent behind these mass atrocities, the intent to destroy Rohingya in whole or in part. Intent is evident in the military's efforts to prevent Rohingya from escaping, like soldiers blocking exits to villages before they began their attacks, sinking boats full of men, women, and children as they tried to flee to Bangladesh. This demonstrates the military's intent went beyond ethnic cleansing to the actual destruction of Rohingya. Among the most compelling material for reaching this decision was a 2018 report prepared by experts from the State Department, which focused on 2 periods of violence in Burma's Rakhine State, starting in October 2016 and August 2017, respectively. In both instances, the military used similar tactics targeting Rohingya: the razing of villages, killing, rape, torture, and other horrific abuses. The military's attacks in 2016 forced nearly 100,000 Rohingya to flee to Bangladesh. In 2017, attacks killed more than 9,000 Rohingya and forced more than 740,000 to seek refuge in Bangladesh.
We are waiting for a long time for that thing, because of the USA is the one powerful country in the world. If they will recognize as a Rohingya as a genocide case by the Myanmar military, maybe international community will more interest about the Rohingya issue. Maybe before the justice will be shown. We are feeling happy and we are waiting another step for that. That means the ICJ will decide one thing, maybe will be positive. So we are hoping for that, and we are waiting for the ICJ case decision.
On behalf of the Rohingya people, thanks to the Joe Biden administration for doing this. And I also have a request, and we feel like, yeah, it's also possible they will go. We hope for that. The Biden administration also need to, make a tribune, quick tribune to go for action to implement their decision in practical.
Meanwhile, Myanmar's junta said it categorically rejects the United States declaration that its armed forces committed genocide against the mostly Muslim Rohingya minority during a military crackdown 5 years ago. Hundreds of thousands of Rohingya fled Buddhist-majority Myanmar following the 2017 crackdown, which is now the subject of a genocide case in the UN highest court in The Hague. Myanmar's junta-appointed foreign ministry slammed the declaration as far from reality in a statement on Tuesday. The statement said that Myanmar has never engaged in any genocidal actions and doesn't have any genocidal intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, racial, or religious group or any other group, unquote. Around 850,000 Rohingya are languishing in camps in neighboring Bangladesh, recounting mass killings and rape during the crackdown. Another 600,000 members of the community remain in Myanmar's Rakhine state, where they report widespread oppression. A legal designation of genocide defined by the UN as acts committed with intent to destroy or in whole or part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group could be followed by further sanctions and limits on aid, among other penalties against the already isolated military junta. A case was opened against Myanmar for genocide at the ICJ in 2019, when then civilian leader Suu Kyi traveling to the Hague-based ICJ to defend the generals. Little over a year later, her government was ousted in a coup, which has been followed by a crackdown on dissent that a local monitoring group says has killed more than 1,600 people. And the Rohingya are an ethnic group, the majority of whom are Muslim, and they've lived for centuries in the majority Buddhist Myanmar. For centuries, the small Muslim minority lived peacefully alongside Buddhists in the independent kingdom, with some even advising Buddhist royals, according to historians. Upheaval ensued from the late 18th century as the kingdom was conquered by the Burmese and later by the British. Here's more.
Myanmar's Muslim Rohingya minority numbered around 1 million before September 2017's mass exodus. More than 90% of the country's population is Buddhist. Most Rohingya live in the northwest, many in refugee camps. They're stateless as Myanmar has denied them citizenship since 1982. The Rohingya are rejected as outsiders and widely discriminated against, used as forced labour, with restricted freedom of movement and access to education and public services. They're considered one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. Since 2011 and the end of the junta's military rule, tensions have mounted between the Buddhist and Muslim communities. In 2012, clashes resulted in more than 200 deaths, most of them Muslim. In October 2016, the army launched an operation in Rakhine State following attacks against police posts carried out by the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. Declared a terrorist organisation by the government, the militant group says it wants to protect the Rohingya from abuse by security forces and the Buddhist community. Fleeing the ongoing violence, many thousands of Rohingya have sought refuge in Malaysia, Indonesia and Bangladesh.
Meanwhile, the communist movement has been able to infiltrate various political parties led by a presidential aspirant, President Rodrigo Duterte said on Monday. Duterte made the revelation in his pre-recorded talk to the people aired Tuesday morning on PTV4. While he refused to name the presidential candidate, Duterte said the political parties working with communist terrorists come from the opposition. Let's listen in.
At this time, I am not ready to mention the names or name, but meron tayong mga partido headed by someone running for the presidency, and yet they are also playing into the hands of the communists mismo. I think they have been infiltrated. Kaya ako, pati yung gobyerno, yun ang worry ko. Actually, yun ang talagang nasa isip ko. Pag hindi, kaya na itong it's a very good program. It has helped a lot of the rebels find their way into the mainstream of society. Akong inuudyo ko lahat na huwag kayong sumali dyan sa mga rebelde na kasagwat yung mga membro ng mga political parties sa kabila.
In a taped interview with SMNI on March 12, Duterte said the government is monitoring several members of the opposition and communist rebels who might be colluding to disrupt the May 9, 2022 national and local elections. Duterte, citing an intelligence report, bared the supposed groupings of the communist insurgents and opposition members who belong to yellow, the color associated with the opposition Liberal Party. In a virtual presser on Tuesday, acting presidential spokesperson and communications secretary Martin Andanar said Duterte will ensure a clean, honest, and credible elections. 26 passengers reported missing when a fishing boat carrying undocumented migrant workers sank off the coast of Indonesia have been found alive, some after drifting for 2 days, officials said on Monday. Two of the vessel's 86 passengers who were seeking work in neighboring Malaysia were killed when it capsized Saturday, said Rolly Ramadiansyah, the spokesman for the Beloved Naval Base on Sumatra Island. The captain and 3 crew members all survived. The wooden vessel sank off North Sumatra province near the coastal area of Tanjung Api as it attempted to sail through an unguarded route to Malaysia. It sprang a leak soon after departing before then being hit by strong waves and capsizing. Officials had previously said there were 89 people on board at the time of the sinking, but later revised it to 90 following testimony from the boat's captain. Relatively affluent Malaysia is home to millions of migrants from poorer parts of Asia, many of them undocumented, working in industries including construction and agriculture. Indonesians illegally seeking work in neighboring Malaysia often risk dangerous sea crossings, and accidents are common due to bad weather and poor safety measures. Let's first get the latest in the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says almost 100,000 people are still trapped in the ruins of Mariupol, through over 7,000 escaped in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look.
Станом на цей день у місті перебувають близько 100 тисяч людей у нелюдських умовах, в повній блокаді. Без їжі, без води, без ліків, під постійними обстрілами, під постійним бомбардуванням. Вже не перший тиждень ми намагаємося організувати стабільні гуманітарні коридори для маріупольців. І майже всі наші спроби, на жаль, зриваються російськими окупантами. Обстрілами. Продовжуємо працювати на різних рівнях і заради того, щоб спонукати Росію до миру, до припинення цієї жорстокої війни. Працюють українські представники в переговорах, які продовжуються фактично щоденно. Складно, дуже, часом скандально, але крок за кроком йдемо вперед.
Human Rights Watch describes the southern city as a freezing hellscape riddled with dead bodies and destroyed buildings. The Pentagon says Russia is pummeling the city using artillery and long-range missiles and from naval ships deployed in the nearby Sea of Azov. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Prosecutor General Irina Benediktova says evidence show Russia is committing genocide through its siege on the strategic port city of Mariupol. Let's take a look.
But actually, I try to be very cold prosecutors and look at the qualification. What now I see in Mariupol, it's not about war. It's about genocide, actually. And actually, every day, which information I have from that city, I understand it's not only war crimes. It's actually, it's not about war. genocide, because theater of war have some rules, some principles. What we see in Mariupol, no rules at all. And that's why houses, you see, everything this we have now in Mariupol. This is the city hostage. City hostage that it's impossible to give them food, water, electricity, and Russian Federation exactly knows what they are doing here. They don't give us possibilities to evacuate people. I agree that he is war criminal. I even say more, he is the main war criminal of 21st century. Yes, so we can prove it in ICC, because all his activity, all his public speeches and all his signers and actual
Mariupol, home to 450,000 before the war began, has witnessed some of the most vicious violence nationwide. Artillery has hammered a maternity hospital, flattened residential areas, and struck a theater despite signs declaring children were sheltering inside. Incoming humanitarian aid and outgoing evacuation convoys have struggled to penetrate the boundaries of the brutal siege. Mariupol is a key asset for Russia, which would complete a land bridge between the Crimean Peninsula annexed in 2014 and the Donbas region occupied by pro-Russia forces. Seizing the port would also deprive Ukraine of a resupply route with the outside world on its southern Black Sea coast. Russia's investigative committee has opened a criminal case against the popular Russian journalist Alexander Nevzorov for spreading false information about the Russian army in Ukraine. Let's take a look.
Комитетом России возбуждено уголовное дело в отношении журналиста Александра Невзорова. Он подозревается в публичном распространении под видом достоверных сообщений заведомо ложной информации о действиях вооруженных сил Российской Федерации. По данным следствия, несмотря на имеющиеся официальные опровержения, Невзоров разместил на своих публичных страницах в Инстаграм и Ютьюб заведомо ложную информацию, в которой содержались сведения об умышленном обстреле вооруженными силами Российской Федерации родильного дома в городе Мариуполь. Публикации сопровождались постановочными фотографиями украинских СМИ с изображениями мирных граждан, якобы пострадавших от обстрела. В настоящее время следствием принимаются меры к установлению местонахождения Невзорова в целях проведения с ним следственных и процессуальных действий.
Ух ты! Вот он.
Alexander Nevzorov is the first prominent political reporter and commentator to be probed for spreading false information about the Russian army under new legislation introduced after President Vladimir Putin sent troops to Ukraine on February 24. The investigative committee's announcement came on the 27th day of what Moscow calls its special military operation in pro-Western Ukraine, which has claimed thousands of lives and displaced some 10 million people. A statement said that Nevzorov published deliberately false information about the deliberate shelling by Russia's armed forces of a maternity hospital in the city of Mariupol. The publications were accompanied by inaccurate photographs of civilians affected by the shelling, investigators said, adding that the pictures had been first published by Ukrainian media. Investigators also said they were seeking to establish Nevzorov's whereabouts. Nevzorov, 63 years old, is a veteran Russian journalist and a former member of parliament. He is believed to be residing outside Russia. Last week, investigators also opened a criminal case against Veronika Beloserkovskaya, a Russian blogger and publisher who lives in France, over spreading false information that Russian armed forces were targeting Ukrainian civilians, including children.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Hun Sen told Cambodian diplomats to adopt a stance against Russia's invasion of Ukraine in all international polls. In a report in the Khmer Times, the Prime Minister said voting in favor of it will create a bad habit in the world which sees the strong invade the weak. So if someone invades us, he said, one day in the future, who will help, unquote. He also said he gave a guideline that wherever our diplomats have to vote on the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, they have to vote against the invasion and the use of force. Now, he was speaking in the inauguration ceremony of National Road number 21. Cambodia earlier this month backed a United Nations emergency resolution. And ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Please stay tuned.
Hoy, Mr. Pwede! Masama at bawal ang pag-inom!
Diyan ka na naman sa kakabawal mo, Mr. Bawal eh. Napaka-KJ mo.
Walang magandang dulot ang pag-inom! Lalo na't eleksyon ngayon! Bawal yan!
Ayon sa Omnibus Election Code, ang pagbibenta, pagbili o pag-inom ng alak sa araw ng eleksyon ay isang election offense.
Inggit ka lang! Oye, oye! Pakawalan niyo ako! Hindi na ako uulit!
Hay nako! Nasa uli talaga ang pagsisisi. Don't drink and vote. Ako si Mr. Bawal na nagpapaalala na hindi na nga mabuti ang pag-inom ng alak, tapos sa eleksyon, gagawin mo pa? Bawal yan!
A public service message of Net25 for Mata ng Halalan 2022. Matatag, matapang, matapat.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Ay lalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Welcome back. President Duterte announced the light railway line would open free rides to the public for a month starting next week. He made this announcement during the inauguration of the completion of the rehabilitation of the 21-year-old rail line on Tuesday. Take a look.
Without the technical competences and professional aid of our service providers from Sumitomo Corporation, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and TES Philippines Incorporated. With the joint effort of these companies and the DOTR, we have increased our train speed from 25 kilometers per hour to 60 while the time interval between train arrivals has improved to 8 to 10 minutes. Also, before, we only had 12 to 15 operating units. Now there are already 18 to 22 trains to serve the people. This progress will decrease, if not altogether stop, the number of unloading incidents in our stations. In addition to this, we made the MRT more accessible for everyone, since all the elevators and escalators are now fully operational. I'd like to announce that Secretary Tugade and I decided that the MRT3 rides will be free. Hindi naman forever. From March 28 to April 30, 2022. Maraming salamat at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Now, aside from President Duterte and DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade, Japanese Ambassador to the Philippines, Koshikawa Kazuhiko, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo, and Mandaluyong City Mayor Carmelita Menchi Aguilar Abalos also attended the event. The Philippines and the United States will kick off the largest ever joint military drills in the archipelago nation next week, according to U.S. officials, showing off their strong defense ties in the face of growing Chinese assertiveness. Nearly 9,000 Filipino and American soldiers will take part in the 12-day war games. It will be held on the main island of Luzon, which are usually an annual affair, but were canceled or curbed during the pandemic. The exercises, which will start on March 28, will cover, among other things, maritime security, live fire training, counterterrorism, and humanitarian assistance, plus disaster relief, according to the U.S. Embassy in a statement. Recent maneuvers between the longtime allies have focused on potential conflict in the South China Sea, which Beijing claims almost in its entirety. China has ignored a 2016 ruling by the Hague-based Permanent Court of Arbitration that its historical claim is without basis. It has reinforced its stance by building artificial islands over some contested reefs and installing weapons on them. The Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam also have competing claims over the waters. In pandemic news here in the country, the Department of Health said all regions in the Philippines remain at minimal risk case classification, with health systems capacity at low risk. Let's listen in.
Patuloy po ang dating ng magagandang balita dahil pababa na po ng pababa ang mga kaso ng COVID-19 sa lahat ng lugar sa ating bansa. Dahil dito, lahat po ng rehiyon natin ay nananatiling nasa minimal risk case classification at may low risk health systems capacity. Average daily cases nitong nakaraang linggo ay 13% na mas bababa kumpara noong isang linggo.
Berjera said the downtrend in the number of COVID infections and severe and critical admissions could be attributed to the increased vaccination coverage for the primary series of jabs and the booster shots.
Meanwhile, the Philippines has approved the COVID-19 vaccination certificates of 3 more countries: Bulgaria, Iran, and Panama, Malacanang said on Wednesday. Under Resolution number 164-E, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases approved the acceptance and recognition of the national COVID-19 vaccination certificates of the 3 countries for purposes of arrival quarantine protocols, as well as for interzonal or intrazonal movement. This is in addition to other countries, territories, jurisdictions whose proofs of vaccination the IATF has already approved for recognition in the Philippines. The IATF resolution read, "This is without prejudice to such other proofs of vaccination approved by the IATF for all inbound travelers." Meanwhile, the Bureau of Quarantine, the Department of Transportation, One Stop Shop, and the Bureau of Immigration were directed to recognize only the proofs of vaccination that's approved by the IATF. To date, the Philippines recognizes the vaccination certificates of 72 countries, territories, and jurisdictions. The Department of Finance, or DOF, has clarified that information technology, business process management, or IT BPM companies in eco-zones and are registered with investment promotion agencies, or IPA, are free to adopt work-from-home arrangements. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III said in a statement that no one is prohibiting them or impinging on their management prerogative to continue implementing their work-from-home setups. However, they must give up the tax incentives they currently enjoy because the law is clear on this. Companies registered with an IPA such as the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, enjoy the incentives such as an income tax holiday or a 5% special corporate income tax in lieu of all taxes, such as the value-added tax, income tax, and local business tax. As a condition for enjoying these incentives, they have to comply with Section 309 of the Tax Code, which states that a qualified registered project or activity under an investment promotion agency administering an economic zone or free port shall be exclusively conducted or operated within the geographical boundaries of the zone or free port being administered by the investment promotion agency in which the project or activity is registered. Dominguez said it is also unfair to other companies outside eco-zones that are paying regular taxes. The U.S. ASEAN Business Council, USABC, the U.S. government through the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, announced a plan to redesign the ASEAN SME Academy on an ongoing e-learning platform for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs, in Southeast Asia, initially launched in 2016. Managed by the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises under the leadership of the Philippines Department of Trade and Industry Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, DTIB-SMED, the Academy features interactive online courses in finance, branding, marketing, trade, and technology to accelerate MSMEs growth and to equip them for success in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, MSMEs in the region quickly discovered that they need to adapt the new ways of operating, adopt proven business practices, and pursue opportunities for future growth. These businesses needed innovative skills and training courses catered for MSMEs with a focus on COVID-19 recovery through enhanced digital and traditional skills. Kate Rebels, charged the affairs AI of the U.S. mission to ASEAN, said the United States continues to proudly support the growth and expansion of MSMEs to benefit the region. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, and the Vietnam International Commercial Joint Stock Bank, VIB, on March 21 announced a syndicated loan agreement worth $260 million to assist small and medium-sized enterprises. The loan agreement is expected to enhance access to finance for SMEs, individual businesses, and promote capital financing for quality housing for individual customers in Vietnam. The funding comprises a direct ADB loan of $100 million and a syndicated loan of $160 million arranged by the ADB and the United Overseas Bank Limited UOB from 9 Asian financial institutions. According to the agreement, VIB also cooperates with ADB to implement the technical assistance program for female entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs with a budget of $500,000 from the Women Entrepreneurs Financial Initiative Fund. This is the first TA grant provided in Vietnam that exclusively help a bank to promote women's entrepreneurship.
With the election set in Papua New Guinea in June, women are encouraged to run for office. Echo Horteleza Quinola from our Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea Bureau reports.
Here in Papua New Guinea, only 7 women have been elected in the national parliament in its 46 years of independence, urging the Social Democratic Party to endorse more female candidates in the coming election. 65 aspiring women leaders attended a 3-day workshop training themed Practice Parliament for Aspiring Women in preparation for contesting seats in the national election. National Capital District Honorable Governor Poes Parkop calls on women leaders of the country to be involved in and advocate gender equality in the nation. During the workshop, political levels and issues, sentiments, and other questions are raised and addressed.
A certain level of gender equality or bringing women into the balance, into the equation, has a consequential change in the social, economic, all the sectors. This is why we need this change. We need leadership that is both male and female, that is providing good, passionate, quality leadership for our country.
Dr. Alphonse Gelu speaks on good governance and parliamentary leadership, while Honorable Governor Poes Parkop discussed the role of government, opposition, and committees inside and outside Parliament.
That leadership is not only for men. Leadership is meant for both men and women. So democracy as a system, democracy as an ideology, basically gives equal opportunity. It gives equal opportunity to both men and women.
Women in Papua New Guinea are called upon today to brave the world of governance for a more progressive tomorrow. Echo Hortaleza Quinola, Eagle News.
The news continues here on ASEAN in Focus. We'll be right back.
Paano makakaboto yun? May kapansanan nga.
Paano naman sa mga no read, no write? Hindi pa rin pwedeng bumoto.
Pwedeng bumoto! Ang mga illiterate o ang mga hindi marunong magbasa o magsulat, maging ang mga PWD, may karapatan silang bumoto.
Paano?
Maaaring magdala ng mga kasama ang mga illiterate at PWD para maalalayan sila sa kanilang pagboto o sa mga pagkakataong kailangan nila ng tulong.
Kahit sino, pwede nilang isama?
No, dapat kamag-anak na kadugo ng botante ang kasama nila. Magdala lamang sila ng PWD ID. Ano bang kapansanan ng kakilala mo?
Ayun, nakahiga lang Hindi makabangon. May sakit daw siyang love nut.
Hindi kapansanan yun. Alam ko na. Eto sa balutamol, balutromycin. Pakainin nyo para ganahan. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, makipag-ugnayan lang sa pinakamalapit na barangay o bisitahin ang COMELEC website.
A public service message of Net25 for Mata ng Halalan 2022. Matatag, matapang, matapat.
Mas safe na ang panahon yon, pero dapat mag-ingat pa rin tayo. Mag-ingat sa lahat ng bagay.
Di ba yung chocolate pag nilagay sa rep titigas?
Aba, siyempre.
Bakit yung sa akin nawala?
Tumigil-tigil sa kakalaro mo.
Wala nga!
Your error.
Ano ba?
Hindi po man.
Natulas na ako.
Simulan na natin ang ating game na Scientific
Kuya, nade-develop na ako sa'yo!
Ikaw mag-asawa ng gwapo.
Are you sure?
Let me check.
Iba-iba kasi tayo ng taste.
Huh?
Paano, nakita niya lang ako.
Funniest Nakaball Videos!
Welcome back to the program. The ASEAN Korea Center will release promotional videos on startup ecosystem in ASEAN and Korea, produced in collaboration with the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and ASEAN Secretariat. Let's listen in.
하는 등 양자 간의 아세안은 한국의 제2교역 상대국이고 코로나19 발생 전인 2019년 기준으로 교류 인원은 약 1275만 명에 이른다고 합니다. 이렇듯 한국과 아세안은 긴밀하고 포괄적인 관계를 맺어오고 있으며 경제, 문화, 의료, 교육 등 다방면에서 주요 핵심 파트너라고 할 것입니다. 특히 벤처 스타트업 분야에서도 양자 간 관계는 매우 긴밀하게 형성되어 있습니다. 한국과 아세안은 2019년 한 아세안 특별 정상회의를 계기로 스타트업 정책 협력을 강화하기 위해 연 2회 정책 대화를 개최하고 있으며 정책, 교류, 투자, 역량 강화 등 4개 분야에서 10개의 협력 사업을 운영하고 있습니다. 핵심 사업으로는 한 아세안 스타트업 정책 로드맵 수립을 추진 중이고 창업 생태 공동 연구 등을 통해 도출한 핵심 전략을 기반으로 중장기 협력 방안이 제시될 예정입니다. 기후변화 대응, 디지털 전환과 같은 경제 환경의 변화에 대응하여 그린 디지털 분야 스타트업 협력도 확대 중입니다. 친환경 분야 해커톤인 에코톤을 매년 확대하여 초기 창업팀이 혁신 아이디어를 사업화할 수 있도록 지원하고 있으며 한 아세안 스타트업 위크를 개최하여 유망 ICT 스타트업을 발굴하고 투자자 대상 IR 기회도 제공하고 있습니다.
There will be 12 videos released, 2 videos on general sessions and 10 videos on respective ASEAN member state session. General sessions videos are comprised of presentations by Ministry of SMES and startups of Republic of Korea, presented by Yong Sok-ro, Director General for Startup Promotion Policy, and the ASEAN Secretariat presented by Lee Kwang-lon, Director of Market Integration Directorate. Videos on ASEAN member state session will introduce respective startup ecosystems of each member state. Relevant government ministries and agencies of each country provide insights on respective startup ecosystem, frameworks, data and statistics funding, incentives, and capacity building programs. The videos can be found on the ASEAN Korea Center and ASEAN Secretariat YouTube channels. The main objective of this project is to share up-to-date information and to enhance awareness and understanding of ASEAN Korea startup ecosystem for potential investors and the general public. Throughout the month of March and on World Social Work Day on March 16, social service workers around the world are celebrated and recognized for their essential role in the daily lives of individuals, families, and communities. Let's take a look.
My name is Dayanku Siti Sanghalina, Pilihan Haji Muhammad Daud. At first, I thought that study in social work was just only to strengthen my skill. But then I realized it's more than just that. It's about being passionate to help people and make a positive change in their life. I see a lot of vulnerable groups who need help and assist them in their journey of recovery. I also see if they are children at risk, for example, negligence due to poverty, to be given the immediate attention. If there are cases like this, then I will liaise with relevant agency to help solve the problem. After years of employment in social work, I'm thriving and wanting more to serve the entire family system and communities and help to empower individuals and families to find solutions. Many empowerment programs have been implemented with objective of helping these people. I always told my client that we are not here to cure, but instead to help capacity for coping and change and find a way to interact with the system that matter to them. That was the reason why I became a social worker, and it's made me proud and happy knowing that I'm able to make a better change of people's life.
Investing in social workers is paramount in our country to enable us to protect vulnerable groups from harm, to help the individuals and families with the challenges they face in their lives. Social workers also strive to promote social justice and social change and assist individuals, families, and communities that need help to reach their potential. Therefore, social workers can make significant impact to the society, both at the micro and macro level.
I hope that I'm able to make changes, especially to children in need, to have a better life like us.
Support our communities by supporting social workers. Standing together for social workers.
And finally, in our news, six-time MotoGP world champion Marc Marquez is suffering from double vision again after falling heavily in the warm-up for last week's Indonesian Grand Prix. According to him on Tuesday, the Spaniard suffered a concussion after a spectacular crash in Mandalika on Sunday when his Honda cartwheeled end over end as it disintegrated before he landed heavily on his left arm and smacked his helmet on the ground. Marquez also suffered from diplopia, or double vision, at the end of last season. Marquez had to be airlifted to hospital after his crash at the weekend, although he did walk away from his ruined Honda. The next race is in Argentina on April 3, with Marquez now a serious doubt. Honda said he would undergo further medical tests before deciding how long he will need to recover. The 29-year-old has struggled with a series of injuries in recent seasons. He missed almost the entirety of the 2020 campaign after breaking his right arm in the season-opening race. Marquez also sat out the first two Grand Prix last year before struggling to recapture his best form when he returned. However, he did win back-to-back races before the initial bout of diplopia forced him to miss the last two dates on the 2021 schedule. Thank you, December, and welcome back. Thank you for joining us here today in ASEAN in Focus and helping me out.
My pleasure, Ms. Alma. Thank you very much. And that's the latest news in the dynamic ASEAN region. I'm December Paras, and we live in interesting times.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Alma Angeles. We'll see you back tomorrow or on Monday, same time, same place, here on ASEAN in Focus. Stay in the news because we live in interesting times. Good night.